On March 23rd, 1958, Sidney Behringer jumps from the ninth floor rooftop of his apartment building in an attempted suicide. Sidney is hit with a shotgun blast as he passes the sixth-story window, only to be caught by a net installed for painters the previous day, which would have saved his life had he not been killed only moments prior. This unexplainable event, which opens Paul Thomas Anderson's film Magnolia, embodies the elements of coincidence and chance found in architectural expressions of idiosyncrasy. Redefined as the expression of unexplainable, unpredictable, and unaccountable phenomenon perceived through attentiveness to the anomalies of chance, idiosyncrasy drove an investigation of Charles Fort and his Book of the Damned. Recipient of a substantial inheritance in his youth, Fort spent the rest of his life in libraries in London and New York researching impossible occurrences, impossibilities of prevailing scientific perspectives that were nonetheless well documented and attested to by multiple observers. A similar process of calling foundational assumptions about human experience and environment into question can redefine the 21st century understanding of architecture and spacemaking as dependent upon chance phenomena and unpredictability. Dislocated from its appropriate outdoor context, the inverted bicycle is reduced to a complicated mechanism for seemingly inconsequential movements. A spoke on the wheel is created by the numbers 8 and 2 in sequence, which creates a cause and effect reaction within its interdependent elements. The chain of events is propagated by a path of dependence. Fear illuminates the surroundings, searching for comfort, causing the domestic blanket to fail in keeping the unsightly chain covered. The cycles of dysfunction and regret create the isolation of the protagonists, who are met with the agents of cruelty that appear to restrict the unpredictability of chance. The final character escapes the inevitable by extending outwards from the frame's control. This sequence of anomalous intersections cannot be explained, but it did happen. Based on these initial explorations and definitions, the project brief is developed by crafting a new understanding of chance in terms of the built environment. Emerging from a process of research catalogs, the Diomede Islands are set forth as the project site because they encompass the emotional complexities, interdependencies, and inexplicability of the Magnolia reference and the assemblage narrative. Located in the middle of the Bering Strait, at the easternmost tip of Siberia or the western extreme of Alaska, depending on your perspective, the twin outposts are known as Tomorrow Island and Yesterday Isle. A 21st century America in decline is driven by intensifying concerns around resources, military conflict, and extreme weather to bring the world stage to their border with Russia. In desperation, America's Yesterday Isle seeks to become as big, if not bigger, than its counterpart. From its new vantage point at the confluence of multiple paths of dispute, the Security Council on the Diomedes becomes the new stage for the performance of global conflicts. Working as a metaphor for America's desperation to retain its status, the project is a purely Hollywood creation, relying on illusions, resourcefulness, and precise choreography with the weather to create the image of a new American regime. Along with the iconic horseshoe formation of the Security Council table, which creates the site plan, the symbol of the crane and the longevity it bestows are co-opted from the mural to serve as a warning signal. Preempting the migration of real cranes from China and Russia towards the Arctic Circle, mechanical counterparts are deployed in an attempt to broker diplomacy around environmental protection. These mechanisms protect the fragile balance of the institution on the Diomedes below from chance occurrences of falling debris. Their secondary purpose is the cooling of the site via reflective wing panels, which assist in controlling mirages by creating a temperature gradient. Under the guise of environmental protection, preventing sea level rise, and cooling the Arctic, the USA performs a covert land reclamation of the ice flows in the Bering Strait. They surreptitiously salvage drifting ice to grow the footprint of the American Little Diomede year-round, creating a landmass ever closer to the surface area of the Russian Big Diomede. The gift of world diplomacy in the form of the UN headquarters is akin to the Trojan horse, disguising the export of American nuclear waste to the farthest corner of their territory. The new American architectural espionage is offered as a model of sustainable environmental design, generating warmth for the delegates' accommodations and diplomacy at the speakers' tables. The American agents constantly observe the UN infrastructure, keeping track of seasonal variations in ice, temperature, and migratory animals. Based on these observations, the American Workshop attempts to affect policy decisions with its props, deploying nuclear waste storage disguised as submerged ice floes, mechanical cranes, and Siberian pine tree billboards. Just as the location of the current UN headquarters arose from the positioning of America as the global superpower, the new site suspended between continents along the international dateline indicates a new set of priorities for the 21st century based on global cooperation and attentiveness to the shifting conditions of environment and relationships. Through the lens of the tumultuous, ever-changing weather of the Diomede Islands, the perception of good and evil, right and wrong, become clouded. Even seemingly well-intentioned actions can be understood to have hidden agendas and alternate consequences when viewed through the distortions of chance. Under such circumstances, the best policy may be to keep one's enemies as close as possible.